Real Estate Show. It's the #1 program about real estate, America's longest running daily radio show about real estate. My name is Eric Willner, and we are live here on our Wednesday midweek edition of the Real Estate Show, a show that you will see will be full of information and news, and also a lot of stuff going on in the marketplace today. For those of you who are avid real estate news followers, you'll know they're one of the oldest retailers in the nation, J.C. Penney's, which filed for bankruptcy protection and was in negotiations. Looks like it may take on a new partner, but may save itself from bankruptcy and continue to be around as they partner with the Simon Malls. Kind of interesting stuff here, if you really think about it, that we've been talking all week long, sort of on a granular basis, about the real estate market and how it's affecting, folks like you and I, tenants in evictions, people in forbearance on an individual level. But we haven't spent a lot of time talking about the commercial side of the business, which is probably even in tighter straits, with all the restaurants that have literally gone out of business. One of my favorite restaurants, even right here in town, had said that they had closed indefinitely. And so it's not hard, and you don't have to go very far to find out, to see the casualties. Last weekend, over the Labor Day weekend, I was down in Key West, and I can't tell you the number of restaurants, bars. Can you imagine a bar in Key West not making it? And retail stores. There was signs of what the economy and the pandemic had done everywhere. And unfortunately, I'll have to say, we saw it firsthand down there in Key West. So here's the thing. Here we are now on the 9th of September. We're finishing up the third quarter, and we are looking at a scenario of where the economy is coming back. In fact, another good thing in the marketplace today was the stock market sort of rallied back after a few days of weakness, particularly in the tech market. In that little trip down to into the Keys, one of the casualties was my phone. It is down there. Anybody who finds my phone, please return it. But so I'm hampered with the equipment here for the radio show today, and so we'll be, like I said, we'll be a little bit short. We'll be a camera short, but we won't be $1 late. We're here, and so I want to talk about a couple of different things. Number one. First of all, let me just make sure I take care of a little bit of housekeeping here. We are here broadcasting the Real Estate Show, South Florida's #1 program about real estate, heard live 5 days a week. For those of you who are regular listeners, this is no news to you, but for many people, didn't realize, even though we just celebrated our 21st consecutive year here on the Real Estate Show, that we have been live 5 days a week for 21 consecutive years, through good times and through bad times. The Real Estate Show here has been a source of information, both for the homeowner, for the real estate investor, the real estate business person, for realtors, and really anybody that has an interest in the real estate market. Our Mondays on a mission start the week out, set the agenda, bring us to the point where we look at real estate from a business point of view. Then we have our Tuesday tools, tips, and techniques. And yesterday we had exactly that, where we were talking about some of the techniques, particularly in the topic of the evictions, and especially because of a very interesting and unprecedented move which happened last week, the Centers for Disease Control. Now, whoever would have thought that you would be talking about real estate and the Centers for Disease Control in the same sentence, and yet the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention made it illegal for landlords across the U.S. to evict tenants who can't afford to pay their rent. We talked about that and how important that was, because that ban could prevent up to 40 million Americans from losing their home amid the coronavirus pandemic. And because the action is so new and has little, I would say no precedent, there are a lot of questions being raised as to how valid it is. I've been on a couple of meetings and mastermind calls with other key landlords, real estate attorneys, eviction attorneys, and looking at this from all different angles so that we all know how to proceed and find out who's eligible for what coverage, who's included in and who's not. So we talked a lot about that. I won't go into the same amount of depth that I did on Tuesday, but let everyone know that if you want to listen to any of our shows, if you missed any of the shows, or perhaps you like our Tuesday shows because they're real tools and techniques about what's going on right now, well, then go back to our website at automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. And that way you can click on the real estate tab at the top of the page and then go and listen to any of the past shows that you missed. There's nothing like the real thing, but certainly that's an option for you. We talked about that. Now today, I wanted to talk about a couple of different things. One is I had to bring to light the conversation about the J.C. Penney when I heard about that, and that while there were some other stores, some of the big stores, Pier 1 Imports is one that I seen signs all over the place. They're all liquidating their stores. A number of stores have gone out of business. Many small ones that you and I may not remember 6 months from now, but a lot of them that were our favorites, from restaurants to retail places. But here's an interesting article that I wanted to focus on today, because everyone is wondering, like, how can the real estate market be so incredibly strong while the economy supposedly is in such turmoil? Now, what's very interesting to find out, and again, having done a little bit of traveling, I'll tell you that the highways sure aren't abandoned. We had some folks that left a day early, and I guess a lot of people had that same thought to leave on Monday during the day. And I'll tell you that what is normally a 2.5-hour drive to Duck Key turned out to be a 5-hour return trip for them because there were so many people on the road. So auto travel, where you don't have to travel in big groups, a lot of staycations or mini local vacations. I've seen them all over the place, local beaches. And I see this worldwide, by the way, from the beaches in England, and nobody really associates with England and beaches at the same time. But the amount of folks that still want to kind of get out and just, shake a little bit of that cabin fever. We have a lot of restaurants that are just packed and busy. We see a lot of delivery services. A lot of food delivery services have adopted and adapted to the situation. And so that's really good. But here's a situation that many of you may have just slightly overlooked. Now, I've got two rehabs going in terms of properties. One local, one long distance. And when I started reading this article, I could see where this really had some meat to this. And the title of the article is Urban Flight Means Home Improvement and DIY Trends Are More Than Just a Pandemic Bounce. If you've been to Home Depot, Lowe's, or any of these big hardware chains, you'll know that they are as busy as can be. Some of them are struggling to stay stocked. Trucks, when I've rented trucks to do moves of bigger equipment, this is not a pandemic bounce, but in fact, we're looking at what's probably a new habit. And keep in mind, there's two things going on here, really, and that's why it's so important. Number one, let's talk a little bit about the urban flight. I think I shared with you when I was renting another property down in Fort Lauderdale that I put up for rent. And all I did was put an ad in the a sign in the yard and an ad on Zillow. And the response was very strong, number one. Number two, of about 50% of the responses to my for rent ad were people offering to buy the property. The demand is so high, the inventory is so thin that many buyers, including agents and individuals, have resorted to contacting landlords to try to work out either a rent to own or a straight out purchase. And so that was 50% of the inquiries were to buy, and I was not interested at this time to sell this property. Those of you who know me on this show know that I am a sticky buyer, is what I call it. Is there are investors that buy and immediately flip the paper, they flip the properties, they fix it, hold on to it for a short period of time, and then there are other sticky buyers that love to buy and hold on to build a portfolio. So of the remaining 50% of the rental inquiries were people from New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, the major metropolitan cities. I would say that on a 3-to-1 ratio, it was out of town urban flight. And the article here, urban flight, means home improvement and DIY trends are more than a pandemic bounce. Many people aren't putting their properties on the market right now for sale because they're worried that if they sell, which is easy right now, where will they be able to buy? So, and sellers are so picky right now, they're not going to accept a contract that says, I will close on your house subject to me closing on my house. So the shift of Americans from cities to suburbs, and I think, again, that this is going to be a more permanent shift. Folks are now seeing, thanks to our modern leap forward, a courtesy benefit of the pandemic, that people can work from far away, they can remote work, then the need to live in city centers is greatly diminished. And in fact, it's much nicer to live in a nice spaced out yard, big house in the suburbs than it is to fight traffic in the commute in order to get to a city center. So that could benefit home improvement retailers like Home Depot and Lowe's, and auto-focused retailers like Carvana and AutoZone. So think about that for a second. So on a research note, Wells Fargo senior equity analyst Zachary Fadem said cities have lost their luster as people look for more space for working and learning at home, and aspects of city life from public transit to high-end restaurants are unavailable or unappealing. So we're going to take a quick break on that note. We're going to come back. I'm going to dive deeper into that very important trend. And this is a big tip for you real estate investors out there. Homeowners alike, take note, because this is going to be stuff that will make a difference on what you do with your real estate right now. So you're listening to The Real Estate Show. My name is Eric Willner. Don't touch that dial. We'll be back right after these words. Yes, sir. So we are live, but it seems like we're having some internet problems. I'm using a different camera here. You can tell by the different angle on our Facebook. Let's take a look here on our YouTube. We're still good there. Greetings to all of our YouTube folks. Hey, Brian. No Facebook? Actually, we're on Facebook, but you know what? I just realized that I went Facebook Live personally. New camera, my glitch. So I'm over there. I'm gonna leave that rolling while it's there. Skip this version right now. Let's see here, where did my water go? So how are you guys doing today? So I'll have to publish this and transfer it, share it over to my the real estate show page. I just realized I did this on my personal page, which is probably why you didn't get the notice. Urban Flight. We got the things going on. Let's see here.
With your note and the mortgage pledged against a subprime mortgage-backed security, a WMD, a weapon of monetary destruction created by Solomon Brothers in New York, the same Solomon Brothers caught rigging the bids to Federal Reserve T-bill auctions. Was your mortgage and note resold multiple times? Were they assigned separately, bifurcated lawfully? Did the trust ever really receive the note and mortgage? Or has the lender in your case already been paid? Double dipping. Be there at Eric Willner's The Real Estate Show.
Double dipping.
Learn how your worst case scenario will be case dismissed with zero judgment. Go to asktheforeclosureman.com for Facebook linkage or call now for your free appointment with Foreclosure Man. Call 561-758-4110. Limited availability. Call now, 561-758-4110.
This is The Real Estate Show, brought to you by Capital One Group, LLC in Boca Raton, with your host, Eric Willner. If you have any questions about the broadcast, call toll-free 888-595-7779.
It's amazing how good quality this is. And welcome back. For those of you just joining us, you are listening to The Real Estate Show, South Florida's #1 program about real estate and America's longest running daily radio show, all about the topic, and you guessed it, real estate. My name is Eric Willner, and we have been talking about some of the latest, the greatest trends. I had mentioned that I was going to give you more of an update, and I thought I was going to have more of an update for you on the stimulus, but looks like Congress made no more progress. The Republican Senate is has been sort of threatening to vote and pass a limited stimulus bill, something that's more direct, leaner. Right now, I think it's about $300 and some billion, and the Democratic-led Congress said that it's way too short of what they want, and therefore they're going to hold the whole thing hostage unless they get all of the things that they want. I think that's really the wrong approach. But that's all the updates that there is. And so here we are now, September 9th, a month later than I had originally thought that they might be coming to an agreement while they were still in session. Again, they promised that they weren't going to go on vacation until they hammered out an agreement. Well, so far they've enjoyed a month of vacation, while many Americans have not enjoyed a month of vacation. They've enjoyed a month of waiting way too patiently, considering I think that Congress and the Senate let them down there. Meanwhile, back to the article, we were talking about urban flight means home improvement, and the do-it-yourself DIY trends are more than a pandemic bounce. They're in fact going to be a new habit, and we've been seeing it at this in two ways. And what I think what you're seeing now is a convergence of two bigger trends. Number one, urban flight. I think urban flight is here to stay. I don't think that as soon as the pandemic is over that everybody's going to go running back to the city, although there are people that love the city life. Especially where you're talking about either unmarried or no children, the city life can be much more appealing. When you start to settle down, then I think that urban flight is where this is all taking place. Remember, I talked about the mega trend, the millennials coming of age in their peak earning years, in their family bearing years, now wanting to settle down in more of a family environment rather than a city environment. Then you throw in the pandemic, the whole problem with being too close to too many people, where these kind of diseases can transfer and pass all too easily. You throw in the craziness of the protests, particularly the fake protests of people just burning and looting for no real reason, and the city life gets very, very old. So here we are, as some Americans flee the cities and move into the suburban or rural areas during the coronavirus pandemic. Some analysts are predicting that home projects and repairs will shift from a trend to a long-term habit. And we already started seeing this. So this is really, the pandemic has made this trend, I'm going to say, a bigger thing, because when we had the continuous appreciation of properties, so we were starting to talk about affordability being an issue to be able to buy and move up. So we started seeing more people double down and fix their homes and do home improvements and expand their homes. But bottom line is, they decided that it's easier, more cost effective to improve where you are than to go shop and start the whole process all over again. And in fact, we're going to talk about that in tomorrow's show. In tomorrow's show, we're going to talk about whether it makes sense to refinance now, or whether it makes sense to, again, double down on your mortgage as well. Why not accelerate and pay off your mortgage, improve your house, get extra equity, accelerate the pay down, get extra equity. And in the end, to tell you the truth, that is the financially smarter move to make. And we'll back that up with numbers in tomorrow's show. So what this all means, this new habit of stay and fix, is that could add up to more sales for Home Depot, more sales for Lowe's, and other retailers with a wide variety of home improvement items, from paint, the Sherman-Williams place out there, the Benjamin Moore stores, and tools to kitchen appliances, and all of that. Now, those retailers have already seen strong sales and growing profits during the pandemic when people were forced to stay home. I mean, yards look better, houses look better. It's been a good thing. Americans spend more time in their homes. They're now spending more dollars on their homes than they would have otherwise doled out for restaurant bills and summer vacations, for example. So their suburban shift could also benefit auto-focused retailers like Carvana, AutoZone, O'Reilly Automotive, Advanced Auto Parts, according to the note. Again, more people fixing and doing their things themselves. On a research note I mentioned before, he spelled out the factors that has driven some people out of the cities. Among them, he said about 65% of early COVID cases were concentrated in dense cities. People have sought out more space as they work and learn at home, and as aspects of city life, from public transit, we talked about that in the first half of the show, to high-end restaurants, are more available in wider, spread out places. So they also pointed to a recent earnings report by retailers that soared past Wall Street expectations, citing deurbanization as one of the causes. So there you have it. That is a big trend, and it was revealed here today on the Real Estate Show. Remember, we'll be talking about some of the collateral effect of that on tomorrow's show, but that's what we've got time for today on our midweek report. So that's it for today. This is Eric Willner signing off for another edition of the Real Estate Show. We'll be back again, same place, same time tomorrow. Until then, drive safe, wash those hands, and make it a great day. God bless America. Bye-bye. So we'll wrap this one up here first this time. Thanks for attending there. And then we'll wrap it up over here. Again, hey, Brian. Hey, Chet. wrap up our YouTube stream. We'll be back. Hopefully, I'll have everything figured out with the new cameras and our new equipment on tomorrow night's show. Thanks again for attending. Bye-bye.